Well, you look the part, but let's see some of your moves.
Feeling free and it feels so right. Oh, time to do the things I like. Gonna see a princess, everything's alright. Oh, no job but an answer to. Ain't a fixture in the palace zoo. No, and since the carpet lights off me, I'm living life now that I'm free. Yeah, told me get myself together. Now I got myself together. Now I made it through the weather. Better days are gonna get better. I'm so happy the current night is gone. I'm moving on. I'm so happy that it's over now. The pain is gone. I'm putting on my shades to cover up my eyes. I'm jumping in my ride.
There we go. The pain is gone. I didn't even know carbonite give you pain, but I guess it was kind of painful.
Well, it does give you frozen sickness, doesn't it? Or
what if you itch your nose like the second you got frozen? And for years you just couldn't itch your nose.
Yeah, hopefully it just deadens the nerves. But it's great to see you, Mike.
Yeah, nice seeing you. Yeah, we almost started without recording, so John will be joining us later. He's probably in a mildly mental state, just waiting for his passport. That must be nerve-wracking.
Well, he got some confirmation about it today, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I just imagine once it's in hand, once the thing is in hand, would be even better. So,
what's that old phrase? One passport in the hand is worth two in the
emails
in the suitcase or something.
Yeah, that's. But that's. So what do we start with so that we won't step on John's?
So I don't think John has any troop time. Oh, hey, E-Girl's here.
Oh, hey.
Good to see you. John, I'm not sure if John has troop time, but I have some troop time to talk about.
Troop time is up. Let me get my troop time ticker here. I should really organize these.
Yeah, and so ours was, I don't know if it counts as a troop so much as it was like we did an inventory with the Pennsylvania Mandalorian merc. So we're getting ready for convention season and everything. So drove up to Pennsylvania and hung out with a bunch of them this weekend. We have a jail cell that we set up at different events, and so we're making sure that all of our parts were together and going through all of our equipment that we have that we bring to different things. And Heather came up with me, and I've got to say I'm incredibly jealous. So I know I mentioned last time that Heather's going down the path of becoming a costumer, and she wants her first costume to be Bo-Katan.
Nice.
And so we managed to, through the kindness of some of our friends, come upon some Bo-Katan armor and helmet and jetpack and stuff.
Oh, there she is, future Bo-Katan.
She's waving at all of us. So it's super exciting. I mean, so she's probably 4 steps down the path already.
Nice.
And it's coming from an amazing member of the Pennsylvania group who we can't be happier with, and so we're super excited. And then this weekend, I'll be gearing up as Kenix Gar Kabur and going to the Lehigh Valley Comic Con or Comic Fest or something along those lines.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I'll be putting on the Mandalorian, not the Mandalorian, but my Mandalorian, and trooping this weekend.
Now Heather's going to find out that it's way easier to be in costume than to handle, because like Missy for all those years was a handler for me and the girls, and then I had never been a handler. I had probably trooped for 5 or 6 years, and then I was a handler one time. I was like, man, this is a lot of work.
Well, I always joke around and say that handler is kind of like also part like rodeo wrangler.
Yeah.
You know, you're guiding people over here and taking pictures and giving you phones, and someone's handing you a baby. And
yeah, it's like PR, handler, costume expert. Again, and I said this before. There's many, and Missy's my wife's a relatively shy person. That I'd look over and she's like reached up under Vader's costume adjusting something, and so yeah, it's a hard job, but the Bo-Katan is cool. If you need any oddball parts for that costume, you let me know.
Oh,
Like,
definitely.
I do have a pair of blasters in the garage that if you need them, they're yours.
Oh, I'll definitely accept those. And
So,
I've already told Heather that I want to make sure that she can come up to your place for this summer's armor party.
yeah. Well, and because I'm gonna do a bow for Safi, I think, just to make her an easier costume to wear, so she doesn't always have to be bolted into 000. It'll either be a bow or because there's so many cool female Mandos too. So like as much as I'd like to see her do bow, but like Zoe has Sabine, so it's characters are nice, but it also is nice to you can just show up. Like you don't have to worry. Oh, is another Bo-Katan? I don't know what the Mando Mercs rules are for like similar characters and stuff.
Well, up until recently, there really hasn't been that many people doing the same one,
Right.
with the exception most recently of a lot of folks wanting to do Din Djarin, and they want to dress like Din Djarin, and part of it I think is because of the ease at which you can get the parts now, even down to the Skechers boots and things like that. You just buy them off the shelf. They're not specially made. But,
well, and I was watching a guy do. So I only thing I have to print for ours is the leg pieces, and I was watching someone do it with plastic dip to make it look leather. There's leather. I was like, oh, I can do this. We could, so. They'll be on the printer as soon as Celebration's done.
Oh, that's awesome!
Right now, I'm printing her second, the second Sabine pistol that we're going to take. I'm going to make the tip solid orange, and because England's a little different than over here, which is kind of weird. Because it seems like the country that you're allowed to have guns, real guns, they get really. It's just weird, Like you would think a country that you're not allowed to have guns, they wouldn't worry if it looks like a real gun or not. But whatever. Yeah. But we're just going to take the Sabine pistols in pieces, and then she'll just wear them. And then when we're leaving, we'll just hand them to someone. Hey, you want a set of Sabine blasters? There you go.
There you go. Give it to maybe one of the last people to get a picture with her. Or something.
Yeah. Just say, here, you want some pistols? Knock yourself out.
And Heather's already saying thank you for.
For
all the offers.
Yeah, like I said, the you know what I noticed though with Bo-Katan, she does not use the mounting clips for the jetpack.
No, she doesn't. It's
Bo-Katan is going to you're almost going to have to make 2 backpacks for Bo-Katan.
I think you might have been listening to our car ride home.
Oh, really? That's what I look at when I see these costumes. I'm like, jetpack? How the hell's that going on?
Yeah, because I was telling Heather that we'll need to make her a back plate that doesn't have the jet, because the setup that we have for her costume, it's the Red Man harness that goes under the flight suit.
Yeah.
So a solid back plate will cover the holes, but when she wants to wear the jetpack, she'll have to have a different back plate that has the space for the jetpack to clasp onto.
That's probably a better way to do it, though. I mean, because I'm looking like with Zoe Sabine, it's a pain. I think when I do Din's jetpack, which I probably won't, because in the he has the in the Pinto armor there's no backpack. But if I do a Din with a backpack, I think I'm going to try to 3D print it and then cast it in fiberglass.
Okay.
So it'll be nice and because you can make it fiberglass like paper thin, and because the 3D printing it's lighter, but then if you make the 3D printing backpack too light and you back into something, you're going to crunch it pretty bad.
Yeah, or you go to put it down on the table when you're changing and it falls to the ground. It's over.
Yeah. Well, until this past summer, and it's mainly because everyone's trying to run prints faster. But when we had that last armor party, and I printed all those Boba Fett helmets for Zoe's friends, that's the first time I saw them actually melt in the sun. Like those kids they were sanding them and sitting them in the sun, and they'd come back and the whole thing was all distorted. So, that's
yeah. So she's excited about being able to troop. Now I just have to figure out of getting her onto the forum so she has an official name, and
Yeah.
all of that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's cool though. That's really cool. And with it, Bo-Katan is in the 501st too.
Yeah, so we have the CR. She's in all three.
Okay,
she's
so
in Rebel Legion, 501st, and the Mandalorians.
because I would
And-
get on your local 501st too, only because they tend to have better resources, not better resources, but better organized resources. We had this discussion last week. They have the better organized resources for that.
Yeah, so we have them all printed out and everything. I mean, the I'm telling you, when I say that we made out with luck and the stars aligning and everything. So the person who was kind enough to sell us this armor was gonna do it, and then she decided to do bunches of other things. And she says, I don't want this stuff to just be resting in a box somewhere.
Yep.
And instead of that, I want you to have this. And there was one point in time where there was probably 6 people standing around Heather at a table saying, I'll help you with this, and I'll help you with that, and I'll help you with the other thing, and we can do these things together. I'm like, man, that right there, I wish I could have recorded it. I wish I could have captured it somehow. That right there to me is the epitome of found family that I've been striving for in these costuming clubs. It was glorious to witness.
Well, and you have like you almost wish you could take all that and just put it on a voiceover of all the stuff that's been, because people forget about that, because that's the stuff, everyone's there, everyone's at that point at one point in time. Everyone's either the person needing all the help or someone just offering all the help. You're in that circle at one point in time all the time.
Yeah,
and that's the really cool thing about it.
Yeah, I think we have found our Mando home. Nice. With the PA Maviola clan. We're really excited about it.
Like I said, they will have such a spot in my heart from the way they inducted Zoe. Like, I can't, unless the droid builders go all out and do something for Safi, I can't see how a group could just be so much nicer, So.
And have you been keeping up with Tom Hutchins' latest build?
No.
So he built. Do you remember the axe that you saw in the Solo movie? It was in Tobias Beck's, like his yacht.
Yeah.
So that similar axe was also carried by one of the Knights of Ren. Okay. So he took that idea. He put maybe a 2.5 or 1.5 to 2 foot glaive at the top, and so he's got it's a battle axe / pole sword, and so he's going to be using that when he troops.
Nice.
It's fantastic looking. So if you get a chance to check it out,
I think I'll have to check it out. I've been like, again, you know how I get. I've been trying to tunnel vision myself to keep myself from getting on. I feel like stay on target. Stay on target. This Ahsoka build is getting getting away from me, and everything I wanted to have done, I do not have done yet, and I have a week. I have less than a week because it has to be painted by Saturday. Like I can't, take it on a plane if it smells like spray paint.
Yeah.
It can't be like Celebration where I spray painted the night before and just stuck it in the back of the van and drove the shit.
Yeah, because I don't even know where you'd be able to get spray paint in England.
Yeah, no, this is mainly like there's just going to be print lines on some of this armor. I can't. And I should have worked on it sooner, but I didn't think I was going. So I was like, so.
And I mean, it's the fact that you're going and getting her in anything, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So,
and the fact that the 3 of you are going and you'll be hanging out with John at the same time is quite special.
Marty's going now.
What?
Marty's going now.
What do you mean Marty's going now?
Yeah, he wasn't going to go, and
he just came back from Ireland.
I know. When we were going to Chris Freed's house Saturday morning, and I was talking. I was like, Marty, I still have that extra ticket if you want to go. And he just started. I said, look, you can stay on the floor. I said, I have no clue what our room. This could be like the smallest room. We could all just have to like shift standing up.
You're gonna have bunk bed sleeping bags.
Yeah, and then he was thinking about it, and then he decided to go. So he's going too.
That's pretty cool.
So it gets
now, not only do I expect lots of pictures from you guys, I expect lots of good pictures because Marty's going.
Well, what'll be nice is if he does the video of Zoe's panel, because I'm always terrible with that. It's just not,
That's not what you do.
Yeah.
You've got so many other things going on anyway. You're making sure the mic is connected, making sure that Zoe's okay on stage, making sure that her host or her guests are. Yeah, you're the proverbial host all the time.
I guess. I'm excited about our panel now that Matt confirmed. So that's super exciting.
And has John decided on a topic for his show yet?
I think once that passport comes to John, then it'll be like a floodgate of all of his. I think he's just kind of like holding it all in until that he gets that passport in hand.
And please know that when I say I'm jealous of you guys, I mean it with all the kindness and support and encouragement. There's only love there.
I'm going to pitch to John that if he can't think of anything to talk about, he should have Marty on stage, because Marty was at the first celebration.
Well, what about this? If you could get one other person who's in between their ages and do Star Wars across different generations.
Yeah. I mean,
because Marty's your age, right?
He's your age, actually. I think he's slightly older than you, but not quite as old as me.
Okay.
I think
so we're peers, but
I'm at that age where the next bubble I fill out is like the end bubble. You know what I mean? Then I fill out the end bubble, and then the next bubble after that is I'm too old to play with Legos. You know what I mean? So I got it because I got an email at work about something about retiring, and I emailed them. I said, They said, "Oh no, it's just your age triggers that email." I'm like, "Oh, thanks. That makes me feel good." Because I was like, I'm not planning on retiring.
It makes me feel even better that I'm on an automatic kind of thing. It's not even you're not even thinking about me as a person. It just it's like, it pre-populates.
So, but yeah, I mean, I don't have any troops. Justin was here, Justin was here the other day. And I invite. The problem is my Facebook doesn't work on this computer. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just too old. But my Facebook doesn't work well. But I told Justin he has an open invite on this show to give us, if he gets his camera working. He can come on without a camera too. But I don't see anything from him. But I don't have any troop time. There is a troop at the Philadelphia Zoo, which after I get back, I may commit to that if there's room.
Let me know, because that's the next one I think I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I just got to see. I just don't want to promise anything and like come back beaten, because I know when I came back from Anaheim last time, I was pretty worthless for a week.
See, I think it's gonna be worse coming back this time.
Oh, good.
And this is why I say that with all support, you're traveling longer distance.
Yeah.
You're actually coming backwards in time. Is that right?
Yeah.
So you'll actually you'll land before you left, or something weird like that. So just and you'll probably have the typical con crud.
Yeah.
Except this will be international con crud. You don't know what all those other people carry.
I want scones and tea with my con crud.
Yeah.
Yeah,
or
no,
at least fish and chips.
Luckily, I have an entire day. Like I get back, and then I'm still have a day off. So where before I got back at, I think at 8 at night, and I had to go to work the next day. So, so that's the plus side to it. So I do have a day to recoup, but I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to con season. I'm looking forward to just working on stuff. Like I said earlier, I just can't wait till the weather is stable enough that I know I can paint something and be able to paint it again the next day. Like, because even if it's raining in the summer, if you don't get that humidity or that cold, it doesn't throw the paint off as much. And so I can't wait. I can't wait till that stuff. Just to work on it. I just want to get painting and I've found a new love after sealing and working with that foam. I think I found like a new love of a new material I like. Is that?
Well, I've been trying to talk that up for a while, especially on some of the more hidden pieces, like the hip armor for Mando. Like, why does that have to be something so rigid as a 3D print or even resin.
Well, I think I'm pouring that. I have one. I only printed one of those for us, and that's going to be a poured mold.
And that's the same on both sides.
Yeah, it's the same on both sides, and I'm just going to pour it in rubber. It's just going to be a matrix mold, and I can just pour it and fill it. That rubber takes a day and a half to set up perfectly, and then it's done. What's nice is it will look like resin, but it'll bend like rubber.
Nice. And now I haven't looked close enough. How is that actually attached to the costume?
That I don't know. But
Okay.
see, that stuff will hold glue. What's nice about that is
Okay.
that stuff will hold glue. Like if you make silicone parts, that they're in pot, you got to buy special silicone glue, and it doesn't really, where this stuff it'll hold glue. Like when I made shoes with them, and you can just glue Velcro on the inside, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, nice.
And if that works out, I'll probably take the chest piece and try to make a mold of that as well, because the mold will however we make it, it'll mold in rubber, and it'll stand up rigid, but it'll bend. So
that's cool.
Really attach it, and it won't go wonky when you like bend your arm one way. So there's a lot of that urethane it's good stuff. It's just a pain because like when I make the shoes, you have to turn it, and you have to keep turning it for hours.
Oh, gotcha.
One pair of shoes, you have to have at least 4 hours to commit because it keeps running. And then, so the new shoe mold I'm making, I'm going to put a blank in them, and then I'll just fill it, and the blank will be in there because it's slush mold is just not practical.
Gotcha.
But that's why I just want warm weather. I want to make molds. I want to dig my molds out. I just want to make stuff. I want to get my clone. My clone is probably closer to being done than my Vader. I did work on my belt box the other day. So
I still got to get my rear end gear for that Tuscan that we started last summer.
Yeah, Tuscan. I still got tons of fabric on that one too. Sewing. I should have. That should have been like my New Year's resolution. Just learn how to sew. Like just go to Michael's or Joann's. Just take a sewing class, because I can't imagine. I think the basic stitches I need, and if I would spend whatever amount of money on a relatively inexpensive but reliable sewing machine, I think I could do it.
Well, see, this is what I had envisioned a couple times for different armor parties. So this bro guy, he's like prop maker extraordinary. Does sewing. He does the resin stuff. Does the 3D printing.
Yeah,
it's a remarkable the things that he makes. It would be cool. Like, let's say you have a sewing machine and Ken has a sewing machine and Bro has a sewing machine. We gather our sewing machines and like, okay, we're gonna do this costume. Let's say it's the Tuscan robe. So the three of us are gonna do these robes together. So Ken works on his, Mike works on his, and we've got this person there who knows how to do it instead of us trying to watch a YouTube video or read through a forum post.
Yeah, because Safi's first Tuscan robe I sewed by hand. It took like 3 days. I was just stitching. I stitched all the way up the arm. Stitched all,
I've used a sewing machine before, but I'm talking to the utmost basics.
Yeah.
I made a Max costume from Where the Wild Things Are one Halloween.
Nice.
And I don't know if I'd be able to do it again today if you gave me all the bits and pieces. Somehow it worked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love to. Or you know what? This weekend we're gonna get together and we're gonna finish these blasters. So all 15 of us are gonna work on these blasters.
Yeah. That's what I'd like to do that. I'd like to have more. Well, we'll see what happens with the movie shoot, because that got changed around. So hopefully that goes well.
And that got moved to June, right?
Yeah. So Matt's supposed to get, once he gets me shot lists, and then people can sign up for the scene.
Nice.
That's my plan. Now, if my plan was, if we do that again, you would sign up and be like Trooper 3 or this or that. So then people have more buy-in. Like, because when I think when you have a whole group of people, it's just like an event. If everyone thinks there's tons of people, but they're not really personally accountable to be there, that's the kind of person who's like, oh, it's a little cold today, or I woke up a little stuffy, and you know what I mean? Where if you're like, hey, you're Trooper number 7 for this shot, So we'll see. June
Well,
June can be tough though.
considering that it's June, I mean, you've got time to get your Narkina 5 prisoner costume by then.
Yeah, I keep thinking about that.
I mean, I have one. I think John has one.
I'm just right now because John's that young kid going to Celebration. He has to pay for one person. I got to pay for 3. That's what I look at that. I'm like, that's like $41. I just don't feel like spending right now.
Well, that's $41 that you can't buy. You can't use on fish and chips.
Yeah, right.
You know, or Guinness or whatever it is.
Tofu and chips.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you allowed to be vegan in England? I don't know how that works. I might be very thin when I get back.
No, I think they're pretty progressive that way. They might even have gluten-free stuff if you ask nice.
I can't take gluten-free. I need my gluten. Can't have.
And you don't have a nut allergy, do you?
No, I don't. Why?
Okay.
It won't let me turn John. Oh, there we go. And now he's just John. As soon as I turned John on, it froze.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
No, hang on. There we go.
Speaking of nut allergy.
Oh, look, I got my.
Yeah, nice. It's a nice shirt you got there, Mike.
Yeah, one of us is not like the other ones.
I heard it's going to be. It's a new and upcomer from the Star Wars celebration stage. What room are you in? 14?
17.
17?
Yep.
I think they both still have 160 seats.
Yeah, I think they're the same size.
Nice. Very nice.
It'll be your biggest live audience yet.
It will be indeed.
Well, again, as someone who's done a lot of panels, don't judge your panel by how many people show up. Your panel it's a combination of many things,
Yeah.
So.
I have now mentally prepared myself now that the reality is set in because my passport will be here tomorrow.
Nice.
So we're cutting it down to the wire, but we're good. I think the reality is now starting to set in that I'm actually going to be there. So I'm kind of preparing myself with all that. So
Nice.
And where has it taken you?
to very excited places.
Well, now here's our celebration talk. So did you sign up for the sound check? Did you get the email about the sound check? Check your email, check your spam, because they had a something where you can do a sound check that Friday night. So I replied back. I think you can still reply by the end of the month, I think. But I replied back that I'll be going to do the sound check. Mainly just, give me something so I can see the inside of the venue before we actually get in there. But
I have until tomorrow to respond. Oops. Yeah. I read this whole email. Yeah. All I read was the panel room specifications and the speaker badges. I totally skipped over that.
You're picking up your badges too, and you're picking them up both, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you might want to think about is when the con's over, you might want to take that last badge and see if you can trade it with someone who has 4-day badges. Then you have your badge collection.
That's true.
So
that is true.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah, I should probably respond to this email real quick.
Yeah, their emails are they're very wordy. Like they couldn't just put in the attention. Please answer this by this thing. But so John, you didn't have any troop time. We were just finishing up troop time and talking costumes. We did a lot of everything.
Oh, it's Thursday from 3 to 6 or 3 to 5.
Yeah, Thursday. I'm sorry. I said Friday. I meant Thursday before it opened.
I was gonna say Friday seemed odd.
No. I was thinking that the con was Saturday, but yeah, it's the day before the con opened. So I'm gonna pick up my badge and then later at night pick it the other thing. And podcast talk here. Let's go to podcast talk. Do I have a podcast thing? Podcast talk. Here we go. Let's talk podcasts. Ken, what's coming up on your podcast?
Funny that you should ask that. So I still am getting ready to launch my episode about The Last Jedi. And last night I interviewed 2 Mandalorian mercs and we talked about costuming. We talked about the Mandalorian show. We did some speculation and what we think we're going to see. So that'll be my 6th episode of the Rambling Star Wars Fan. The 5th one will be about The Last Jedi. Tomorrow night, I'll be getting together with the other members of the Rad Batch from the forces behind Star Wars, and we're going to do a review of this season's Bad Batch.
I think I got an invite to that.
Oh, cool.
Maybe. I don't know. I got a weird invite in my spam folder. One said cancel, and then the next one was an invite. So I don't know. I don't know if I was just on the wrong list.
So if it's for tomorrow night, come on board, and we're going to talk about this season of the Bad Batch. We'll probably dip into last season of the Bad Batch and talk about the next season of the Bad Batch.
John, okay, cool. John, what do you have? Anything coming up on yours?
Sorry, I'm going to be completely honest. I was trying to respond to this email.
sorry.
I wasn't paying attention.
Oh, no, I was wondering if you had anything coming up on the best card bucket.
I'm going to record a few things, like building up to Celebration, and then obviously the Celebration show.
All
Do
right.
you have a topic for your Celebration show?
Nope. Still nothing yet.
Well, you know what? Zoe's first panel, I harassed the hell out of her to write up what she was going to talk about and this and that. And I think she did it just to shut me up. And her and Lizzie didn't even look at it. So,
Well, I guess, I was going to save this for later. However, Mike, I would like to formally invite you to be my guest on the show.
oh, well, I will gladly be your guest.
I figured, you started me down this path.
I'm sorry.
So it's only right that you're up there with me, if you would be willing.
I'm honored. Unless we can snag you a better guest, maybe.
We can add them on.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on. I don't know. Have you heard the latest, John?
No. What's the latest?
Mike, tell him the latest.
Which one? About Marty going?
Yeah,
I knew about that.
Yeah,
I didn't know you knew about that.
Yeah, because I think Marty might have called him to see if John still had an extra ticket for Dan.
Mm-hmm.
But Dan can't make it.
Mm.
So.
Oh, see, you cool kids talk without me. I see how it works.
I didn't even know about that. I didn't know about that call until after the fact. Yeah, because but
Now you're gonna make me have FOMO. Thanks a lot.
well, then you know what would look good, Ken, with your Kenix armor though. Pictures with Marty's DeLorean.
That would be very cool.
He just got his DeLorean back.
Didn't he just do like a washing of it or something like
He
that?
just got it back and
detailing,
washing it and that would
Mandalorian sitting on a DeLorean.
We need that the DeLorean Mandalorian. You ever see the helmet that has the gold wings? We need that guy. Well, okay, so John, is that would be I will gladly do a show with you as long as we make sure someone else is taking care of your sound and your video. I don't want you to lose any of that either. That's my only caveat. But we'll throw the Zoom recorder. I just got to find out, do they have AA batteries in England? Or should I just bring a giant box?
Are you allowed to bring batteries on an airplane?
You can't bring lithium batteries.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But these are just, I might just grab a box just to make sure we have them for the Zoom recorders.
You can always Amazon ship them to the hotel.
Yeah, I don't need one more ball in the air. I need all my stuff. I'm still I will be happy once I'm on that plane. Because I just don't like the moving parts of, okay, I got to get done work and then I have to get straight there. So once all those moving parts are done, I don't need one more moving part.
So can I read something from the internet to you guys?
Yes.
This is from TripAdvisor, March 19th, 2016. This may seem silly to some, but are AAA and AA batteries in the UK the same as those in the US? Yes, you'll have no problems. They're the same.
Okay, then I'm fine.
Well, you should still be making that Amazon order for that Narkina 5 prisoner outfit.
I don't know. Listen, that's what I was telling Ken. I was like, I don't know. I know I'm going to regret not having it, but I'm just like, I can't. Right at the moment, I'm trying to. I gotta
He's gonna have to get food in the airport. That $41 will go towards a snack in the airport.
Cash and we'll see. We'll see.
I mean, he's gonna have to go 3 days without nacho cheese.
Do they have I'm gonna get the Speedo version.
Mm.
The Narkina 5 Racer
Permanently.
The actual swim team uniform.
So I don't have anything about my podcast going on. I reached out to Colin, but he's not available right at the moment. So I'll have to, see. I've been listening to all these podcasts. Not as many of the new ones, but like I've got hooked on the Armor Party. The Armor Party has me now, and the Dad Batch and our podcast, and I'm like, I need to move an hour further away from work, I think, just to be able to catch up on the podcast. And then Zoe turned out 2 this week, so that kind of so but I got to think about the Creedcast. But I will plug Zoe's podcast. She did Tom Engelberger. Have you guys ever read his stuff?
What was his latest offering?
Well, he did Origami Yoda, and then the Tales. What were the book? The 40th anniversary book for A New Hope with all the
From a different point of view. For
a different point of view, he did the Wills.
Oh, okay.
So he did the Wills in that one and Empire Strikes Back, and it was funny because when I was listening to Zoe's show, you would have never guessed which story he wanted to write. He wanted to write about the mouse droid. But he did the Origami Yoda series. I think he did a Cad Bane story in the compilation of the Clone Wars stories. And he did a Chewbacca book. And I think he did a novelization of Return of the Jedi, I believe. So, Tom Engelberger. But he just did Zoe's show. Wonderful person. But what was neat, so it brings us, I could have brought it back into Troop Time. Zoe and Safi met him in 2011 when they were trooping as Jawas. And he signed books and gave them some stuff, and he was really impressed with them as Jawas. I thought that was funny. Because 2011, man, that was 12 years ago. So that was my podcast talk.
That's awesome. Have you guys been listening? Have you listened to any of the list from Star Wars Podcast Day?
The ones I marked are the ones I've listened to because like I said, I've got sidetracked with the Armor Party has just been putting out these good guests, and I'm like, oh, I gotta watch this, and I gotta watch. And then Ken has one, and yours are good, and the Forces Behind Star Wars. Beskar Bucket hasn't been putting them out anything yet, but
yeah, unfortunately, with the scramble to try and figure out how I'm getting myself to Europe, I was like, maybe I'll just put this off for now.
I understand. But like yours with Dex, I think I listened to that one twice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was just enjoyable when I was listening to it.
Oh, that's you mean Demetrius?
I mean Demetrius. Yeah. I listened to it twice. It was just because I know those guys from listening to your show, but then and I think a lot of those parts I heard before, like in conversation, but not put together. And so it was neat to it was like a cool backstory. Like if your podcast was a TV show, it would be that, how every character gets their own like episode.
Or one episode.
Yeah. So it's really good.
I'm trying to, speaking of Dexter, I'm trying to make arrangements I'm going to have lunch with him on Friday and then try to make arrangements. He'll be the next person that I interview. And for whatever reason, 2023 has become the year of the interview.
Yeah. Well,
so I've interviewed Anthony. Last night I interviewed Ned and Ruben. I've interviewed Demetrius. I'll interview Dexter. And then shortly after Celebration, I'm going to be interviewing that. He's on Twitter. He goes by NYC. He also makes music on YouTube and everything like that. His first name is Nigel. He's a super nice guy. And I'll be interviewing him after Celebration. So,
well, and is that Dex just did that Sabine painting?
Yes.
Which is beautiful.
Yes. Yep. Did you notice that he updated it?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because now I need a 000 one. So now next time I see him, I know what I want to buy. But now he needs 000 and Afra, so I can,
Well, he shared one with us today, and it is fantastic. I don't want to spoil anything, but it is fantastic. And I said that he's going to have. So it's a pair. That's all I'll say.
Oh, cool.
And I said he needs to make another pair that are similar yet different.
Cool.
But it's he's awesome, and I think at some point I'm gonna commission him to do a work of Kennick's. And as silly as this sound, I really like that picture of me on the throne that we use as part of our intro.
Yeah.
And I think that would make a really cool line art. And Dexter is just an incredible artist. Anyway,
Well, maybe you should wait until you have a bow, and then you have Kennick's and bow.
that could work.
Have Bo sitting on the throne with Kennick's off to the side, and then,
Or when I have my Pinto Din.
yeah, and then switch it up.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good idea too.
Here, well, let's go right to costume corner because I know we're all over. Ken was at an armor party.
Yeah, and you missed it, John. So Heather lucked into a nice set of Bo-Katan armor.
Really?
So she's already a couple steps down the path. Some of it's painted. Oh yeah, and Heather says that she has some of Dexter's alien artwork.
Well, you have to take Heather to Smooth On to see the life-size alien hanging from the wall.
Yeah, we've joked around saying that we want to make a day trip of it.
Well, like in the summer, if they're not open on the weekends, so you have to get a daytime. But I just need an excuse to go. I just hate going because I never get out of there for cheaper than like $300.
So we'll do it after celebration.
Yeah. No, I mean, because they're like, I'm like, yeah, I really do need. Like they'll be like, do you have this? And I really do need that. And I'm like, oh, what am I gonna do with this thing?
And so I think this is funny. I don't know if you guys will think this funny, but after going to this armor party, we came back with 3 boxes of stuff. So in a matter of a month, Heather already has 2 helmets. So she's like, you're stepping into a dangerous place, lady. This is gonna sweep you up, and before you know it, you're gonna be wanting to make season 3 version of live action Bo-Katan, and we were watching an episode and wants to know how to do the LEDs and the headband and everything.
Nice.
I mean, she really she wants to go all out, and I'm looking at her on the couch like, who is this lady? Like, who is this lady that I'm lucky enough to get to spend the rest of my life with, who now wants to do this?
Well, is Bo-Katan is she one of the hooded figures when you see Ahsoka in season 7?
Mm-hmm.
Is she one of the hooded ones? Because that's a cool look too. And I would follow the Death Watch girls. Like if Heather, if you're listening, follow the Death Watch girls on Instagram. It's I forget his name now. The guy who does Crosshair for the Dad Batch. It's his wife and daughter.
Really?
Yeah. That's how I met him. That's how I met him because Levi and her mom did an episode of Zoe's show, and at Anaheim, Levi was going to be on the stage with Zoe, but then they got called to do the Bad Batch stuff, which I completely understood. It wasn't like if I was going to do a podcast stage and Lucasfilm wanted me to do something, I'd be like, hey, so I didn't have any, but yeah, they do really cool Death Watch armor and stuff too. Now theirs is based more on the animated, but that and they're from South Carolina now. They live in South Carolina, I believe.
Oh, so they're closer to us than California.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and I notice how Heather wants me to turn over my wallet to buy her stuff.
Okay. It
comes out of the same bank account anyway.
Well, it's funny. I'll nickel and dime myself if I need a new shirt for work. I'll be like, yeah, $15 for a shirt, and then the girls will be like, oh, I need a new blah 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 for my armor. Oh yeah, go ahead. How much price? I don't care. Just knock yourself out. So
yeah, we'll make it work.
But yeah, the Death Watch girls do some cool costumes, and then again, I'm going to be doing. I got to finish up all of the other Sabine finished, and then I'll do live action Sabine. So depending on when Zoe moves and what, I again when I see Judah this over Celebration, I'm just going to stare at his phone for a while and look at. Hopefully,
Sit over in the corner.
Well, hopefully they'll release pictures of Sabine, because then someone will make the files like 2 days later, and I'll be fine. But
well, this might be pure speculation, but I'm going to guess that that they're going to be releasing a lot of cool stuff at Celebration.
Yeah. It just depends on what they're. It depends on what they're pushing. Hey, Ken, you're the same way with your shirts. That's cool.
Yeah, I'll get the ones at Five Below,
Yeah,
or whatever. But I'll very easily. Yeah, let's get a set of armor. And I am so looking for. I'm predicting the future or looking into the future. There's gonna be an event where Heather's in costume, and there's gonna be the toddler that's dressed like her that goes running across and wants a picture with her, and I want to be there.
Yeah.
To witness it. I want to be there to capture it, because that's the kind of stuff that's so awesome.
Well, you know what? I think I'll have to look. I have 2 pistols you can have, but I think I have detail pistol files that you print it in multiple pieces. So I have the single piece blasters, which look really nice, but the detailed ones you can actually put if you want to make like a stunt blaster, like a blaster. Like if you're going to a convention and you want them to be like high detail ones. I think I have those files too.
Oh, cool.
I'll have to look. I'm sure I do. Because I had a set of Bo-Katan that I printed, and I think I gave it to someone at one point in time. Because I was like, I can't do it. And then I don't know if it was E-Girl or someone is the one I did the pink Bo-Katan helmet for.
I think it might be E-Girl. She's the one with the pink hand waving.
Yeah. So, because that Widow's Peak is terrible to print. Have you ever printed any helmets like that?
I haven't, but I know. I just by looking at it.
It failed so many times. I just let it fail and then just printed the peak by itself and backed it with sign material and filled it in with Bondo because I could not get those things to print. Unless you print a solid block of filament underneath it. So,
yeah, what are some suggestions that you give either to Heather directly or to me to Heather about making her costume?
Be patient.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing.
And like for me, and again, I'm not a Mando Merc, but when I did Sabine, and I'm not an expert in anything other than just building my stuff, but I looked at silhouettes and proportions when you're building the costume. Some people get so worked up that if a scratch is in the right place, which I understand is important, but then you'll see, like I see it with Sabine all the time, the armor doesn't match the size of the person. Like they'll take this chest plate of Sabine armor, and it's going from elbow, shoulder, you know what I mean? Like you want it, you just have to, like I took stills of different parts of Sabine, like her hand, and I would use her hand as the measuring, and I would say, okay, the blasters are 3 hands long, or this belt piece hangs down this, and I just, with now live action, it's a little easier because what I've noticed the only thing I've noticed with Bo-Katan that I see that some of the people were doing is her pistols swing out. They don't wear like real pistols. If you didn't notice that, they like actually point out, where Din's kind of wears like a real pistol. Hers point. So I don't know if they built that so that the actor can reach them better. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'd say with John is like, just be patient, take your time. Again, look at the pro cosplay places for the undersuits and stuff. And just hers must be super accurate because it's the only undersuit that never goes on sale.
Yeah, we're actually we're going to be working with a seamstress that is in the PA group, and like I was saying, before John got on, I mean there was a small herd, around Heather, and I think they were as excited about helping her, as Heather was about being helped, if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah. Well, and after this episode that we just saw, like pre-Mandalorian, if you saw a group of Mandalorians, all of us Star Wars people thought it was really cool, but there was no canon, but now there's just such a variety of if this was 10, 15 years ago, both my girls would have a foundling costume when they were little. I'd be like, screw Jawas. I'm going to print you a helmet and, do this kind of stuff.
I'm gonna have you wrestle in the front yard.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking about that though. That Ragnar guy, that kid, like they should just get rid of him now. He's like the worst luck. Like my grandfather used to say, like, don't sweep on Monday because you sweep all your money out. And if you had a bad, like, he had all these weird rituals that you couldn't do certain things on Monday because it would ruin your whole week. Like, I don't know. But if his promotion ceremony to a Mandalorian starts with a giant alligator turtle almost killing everybody, and in his first day practicing as a Mandalorian, he gets beat by a little green guy and then gets picked up by a giant bird. Like, I don't know.
Dinosaur bat.
He just pull his helmet off and say, "Look, sorry, kid, you're out."
No, not for me.
So, not to spoil anything, but if you haven't watched The Mandalorian and you're listening to our podcast, you're really messed up. But
now, Mike, did you get your panel lottery back?
Yeah, we got the Bad Batch and the villains.
Gotcha.
But so you've never been to Celebration. There is a standby line too.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on who wants to do, I'd like to do the big panels, but depending on when they are, my goal this time is I'm going to try to hit some podcast panels and just walk around. Like, I'm going to enjoy whatever I'm doing. And
right.
if that means standing in line, trying to get a panel, I'll gladly do that. And however I'm, we'll all hopefully enjoy what we're doing and agree or disagree or just roam around and do what we got to do. But,
Well, just remember, don't leave the building. And at the end of the day, this is where we meet. Like, just remember those rules and everyone will be fine.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it's not a humongous venue in the sense, like I have just decided I just got to make sure I eat and drink, because last time me and Zoe were like walking zombies the first day, so just got to make sure I eat and drink this time. And
it's safe to drink the water there. I want you to know that it's okay.
I don't know. I heard about what they used to use what's that river that goes through London when they had the big stink out in the 1800s because they didn't realize you shouldn't pump sewer into the same water you drink.
I'm not saying you should drink under the London Bridge.
Yeah, but yeah, we got those two panels. Did you get any panels?
I got the Lucasfilm panel.
Oh, that's that's going to be the one to go to. I mean, because that's going to be like the one. That'll be the one where they give you that secret announcement, like So that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I was hoping for the Ahsoka panel, but if anything, I will probably just, because they're broadcasting it to the Twin Suns stage and the other one.
Now I don't know if they'll do this in England, but in Anaheim they were going with these sensors to watch to make sure people didn't have their phones out.
Really?
Yeah. Because they would boot you if you had your phone out.
Yeah, well, that's why we haven't seen the Ahsoka trailer other than the 1 or 2 5-second clips that we got leaked right after Celebration. But
I'm just curious if they're going to promote the Jude Law thing, like what they're going to promote, because it depends on what they're decided to promote to what we see.
Right.
Because like the Ahsoka thing, like I understand they're going to want to show it, but do they have to? You know what I mean? Like everyone's going to watch it. Like,
right.
Like, but the Jude Law thing might be one of those things that people might be on the fence on. That would be my.
So maybe we should have a new segment for this week and for the couple weeks following in that Celebration conversation.
Yeah. I
can think of a couple other things that would be really fun, because I would imagine that they might want to do something related to that new Jedi Fallen Order game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Maybe Cal Kestis will come out on the Star Wars live stage.
I might have spelled this wrong. Celebration I don't know. If it's not spelled right, then they can, I teach math and computers. I don't teach spelling.
Celebration spelunking? What is that?
What is it? Let me see. Spec you. Is that close? Is that right?
It works, yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's just curious where they're going to go. You know, like what they're going to push. You know,
I'm curious if they're going to talk at all about the movies that they have planned in the next few years.
well, that could be too. I mean, that's so. I don't know. I mean, there's it. I'm not really expecting much because I never really got much onto the big stage as much. Like we stood around the stage and watched a couple things, which I'm going to try to do a little more this time. I'm going to try to hit the 500 first stuff more, just to run into some people. But yeah, we'll see what they. I just know it was that Orlando or Chicago where they put the tie. No, that was Orlando when they had all the big props basically built into the stage. Remember that?
That was no, I thought that was Chicago. They had all that stuff along the one side from
No,
the different.
remember the main stage. So where was the main stage? I don't know. I just remembered that one. You couldn't get to the TIE fighter. Chicago, you could get to the TIE fighter. Remember the TIE fighter was connected.
Yeah, the TIE Fighter one that was kind of right in front of the live stage. I thought that was.
I think that was Orlando.
I think that was Orlando.
Yeah, and that was just a terrible setup because they had the at least at Chicago they had all the big pieces in the corner, and then they had the this in Anaheim it was okay, but they had the all the costuming groups like half circled around the main stage, so they had to keep the lights off. So like it was kind of dark at some of the tables, which was a little bit of
Was that Chicago?
No, that was in Anaheim just now.
Oh, okay.
Chicago, they were all back in the corner.
That's right. I didn't go to Anaheim. That's right.
Chicago, they were all back in the corner. You'll see droid races, John. No, mouse droid races, and whatever else the droid builders do. I did see a few people shipping their R2s. That has to be stressful.
Yeah.
R2 across the ocean.
I couldn't do it.
Imagine that. Sorry, we lost your droid. We need proof of how much it cost you. I'm like, oh, okay. 10 years of my life.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, I am curious what they're going to promote. Again, wouldn't be the Jude Law thing wouldn't surprise me if that's one of the things they promote, because that's something that needs promoted to the not because they're not really, the promotion isn't as much meant for us. Like we're going to watch whatever they put on.
Right.
Well, at the same time, though, I think they've done a really great job of making celebrations special.
Yeah.
So when you have, Harrison Ford there, you have Anthony Daniels there, you have Kathleen Kennedy there, you have Pedro Pascal, Daniel Logan, Tamura Morrison, Ahmed Best. So I would guess because of the success of Andor, they may have some of the Andor folks.
Yeah.
Maybe Tony Gilroy will be there.
Yeah.
And considering it's the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi, there's a chance that there's going to be something, some sort of a George sighting, whether it's in person or a video message or something.
Yeah.
Plus that cosplayer who does a really great George Lucas.
Yeah. There's some people that got pictures with him and thought he was George Lucas too.
I probably would have been that guy too. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think Return of the Jedi is probably going to take a center stage to that, and because there's a lot of stuff that's coming about. I don't know. I'm just excited about all of it.
Have they said who's going to be the DJ or the MC for the main stage?
I'm sorry, what?
Have they said who's going to be the MC for the main stage?
I probably read it somewhere, but I don't remember. I know some of the team, like Matt Martin and a couple of the other people were going, but they're bringing like an abbreviated list of people to run the stage.
Gotcha.
So I don't know if Amy, is it Amy?
Andy?
No, Amy. I forget her name. She did the live stage in Orlando.
Okay.
She wrote a couple Star Wars books, and she used to be on Full of Sith.
Okay.
Amy, man, I just can't remember her name now. But I know they took abbreviated list.
I wonder if Warwick will be involved because he lives in London, right?
His hometown. Yeah, we ran into him at the hotel at Chicago, man. He's such a nice guy.
Did you apologize?
No, I didn't run into him, but he did take a picture with Safi. I was like, look, I hate to bother you because you're with your family, but my daughters are here, and she was in her 000 mask. And so I think if she wouldn't have had her 000 mask on, he probably would have been like, eh. But he took a picture.
Did you say that she's a big fan?
No, I didn't want to. I'm not that mean. I'm not that mean.
But she's a big fan.
I know. Well, they'll be, you know what, when they'll be promoting, well, it's Star Wars Celebration. I wonder if they'll be promoting any of the like Willow or
Indiana Jones.
Because
that's in June, isn't it?
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, but it's Star Wars Celebration, so you know it might. What I'd like to hear is an announcement of. I would like to hear more about the Acolyte. You know, so that could be one thing. I'd like to hear stuff I don't know anything about. Like I know I'm going in unless Ahsoka's terrible, which it's not going to be. I know I'm going to love that. I wanted something that I don't know anything about to get me like thinking about it.
Well, there's the other video game that's supposed to be coming out soon. That first person shooter I thought they were making.
Well, then that one game we played at Anaheim never came out yet. It was almost like
Hunters.
Yeah, I was hoping that would come. That was a cool
that would look really fun. It would look like the kind of game you just
on there.
Yeah, you play it for 20 minutes and then you come back a week and you play for 20 minutes more. It's one of those things you just drop in and drop out of.
Yeah. And I'm gonna look at the I think I'm gonna look a little more at the Artist Alley stuff. I'm not gonna buy anything, but I'm looking at the Artist Alley stuff because I've just seen some this year. It seems like the Artist Alley stuff. They're posting up a lot of the cool stuff they're doing. And being 4 days, I feel like I'm not gonna have to rush.
You'll still rush. It's okay.
Probably.
Yeah.
And
just be prepared to be running on fumes. That's all.
They have the kids stage. Hopefully, I don't know if Lego has a big presence or not, but hopefully they will. John, being a Lego guy, will.
Oh.
The Lego stuff, just the murals they do with Lego.
Would you remember the one year where they had all of the minifigures? I thought of the Stormtrooper, and they made a big.
Yeah, the 501st. They had 501 of them. In that, it was right next to the tank. Because remember, they had the tank for Rogue One.
Yep.
The minifigs, and then behind the tank, remember that the scale model of Scarif? So they had the scale model of.
Was it a scale model or was it like the diorama that people made?
I mean, diorama. It was a diorama, and you got to work on it. And so last time they had the diorama of Navarro, I believe, at Anaheim.
Which one did they do Cloud City?
I don't know.
Because there was one that they did. So
that might have been Orlando.
Okay, they were working on that, and I remember it clearly only because I was attempting to get a picture of Heather and the boys in front of it, and all of a sudden the guy who was running the thing, because I've seen him on YouTube videos and everything, and I apologize, this is not meant to be an insult. This is just an observation and statement of fact. He shoved them out of the way because Lando was coming through. Billy D. Williams was there, and they wanted to get a picture of Billy D. Williams in front of all of this stuff. And I'm like, jerk.
I don't know what diorama they're going to do, but, because I think you could just sign up to make a piece, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Which I might do. I don't know. I'm just going to try to do all new stuff.
Well, you have to make sure you're in room 17. There's going to be that great podcast.
Yes, I'll be. My podcasting is Friday. I have one podcast every day. I definitely want to see. Dad Batch on Friday, Zoe's podcast Saturday, John's podcast on Sunday. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then Monday I haven't really looked, but I'm going to try to see at least one good podcast. There's a couple other ones. There's an Irish one on Saturday. I wouldn't mind see. Star Wars in the Classroom. I wouldn't mind seeing. A couple others. So,
Coffee with Kenobi.
Coffee with Kenobi's good. Yeah, he might he might be one of the guys that sits in on yours. He sat in on Zoe's because I think him and I think the guys from Fantha Tracks are the ones that have a little bit to do with this. I still haven't found out when the podcaster meetup is, and we missed the TikTok meetup, but I want to find out when the TikTok meetup is too.
I've got the 501st trading event. I can tell you when that is. That is Sunday from 5:30 to 7.
Oh, there we go.
However,
that's near the end of the day, right?
yeah. However, you have to sign up for it. So if you want me to send you the link, I can.
Yeah, send me a link. I don't know how much stuff I'm going to have. Marty's taking some coins, and
Well, you can always borrow some from John.
yeah, no, I'm going to take
Shake him down.
my officer, my Legion Command coin. See what I can get for that.
Yeah, it's a hot commodity. I'm still trying to find the Sith Lord detachment Kylo Ren coin from 2017. It was a 250 run, and I can't find anybody on the database who has it. So,
yeah,
kind of hoping and praying every Wednesday when I post the wants of the week that someone will just be like, "Oh, hey, I've got that in a bin buried somewhere."
there's a bunch of them in bins just that people forgot about.
Mm-hmm.
That's I've found coins that way. Someone has given me a coin. I'm like, oh, where'd I get that at? So
yeah, I totally forgot that I bought so many coins.
Yeah.
So, but I've got things to trade. I've got the small flat rate USPS boxes.
Yeah.
It's currently full with coins.
There you go.
In less than a year.
You're going to set off the metal detector, and our flight's going to be delayed.
I know. I'm seriously wondering how that conversation is going to go down.
Yeah, listen. It's not. They're not. What's nice about the new equipment is it's not like even 5 years ago where anything metal gets you stopped. Now they can pretty much tell what it is half the time.
Right.
But
yeah, that's the other thing. I gotta figure out how to maximize the storage because I'm only taking a backpack and a laptop bag.
Take a cardboard tube too, in case they give posters out.
Good point.
Like a mailer.
Because what we did was we never took them, and then you're like laying the poster in your luggage, and then you get home and it's all mangled up. So I'm just going to take a mailer, a little more than a foot long, so I can roll it up, and just have it stuck in my bag.
Luckily, I've been saving all of the 30-inch.
Yeah, just make sure it'll fit in your bag, and on the way there,
and you got end caps for both ends.
Yeah,
yeah.
Shove your socks in it for the way there, and
that's smart.
And then just leave them there when you leave.
Yeah.
You don't need socks for the ride home.
Yeah.
Yes, stuff to carry.
But yeah, because they'll give posters out, and then sometimes, like at Anaheim, then they give us little cards, and you can just go pick them up in the basement later. So, who knows? I don't know how it's run. It could be way different in,
So when do we get to talk about today's episode?
Let's talk now. All right, because
did you see it, John?
I did. I've seen all three.
Okay. Mando's episode.
Holy cow.
Can I say one thing? This is why I don't like trailers, though. Because how good would that drop ship been if we wouldn't have seen that in the trailer?
Yeah, you got a point with that one.
Like, I understand why they show trailers, but CGI, Zeb was awesome too.
See, for me, the Zeb thing was fantastic because I know we've talked about it on this show, saying that we weren't sure if we would ever see it, and we saw it, and it looked amazing. And I've already seen the episode 3 times, and I'll watch it again tonight before I go to bed.
Yeah. Well, it's like the speech when they were talking, it was so cool. I'm sure some people were losing their minds when Din started talking about going to help. They're probably like, oh, this is boring. You know what I mean? But it was so cool. It was almost like a life lesson in the sense that Din's like, look, this guy is who hunted us, and this and that. And then I forget his name again, the Vizsla guy.
What's it called? Big Vizsla.
Big Vizsla gets up, and I was like, oh crap, here we're going. I was like, what's going to happen now? But I kind of knew in the back of my mind, as soon as I saw what was going on, they were going to be in those jump ships. You know what I mean? But then he comes and he talks about, like, his speech was so good. It it's what we need in this country, in this world, where you could be on the wrong side or the right side, and you can change.
Yeah, I think that's the important piece to it. So with time, with exposure, with a willingness, you can let go of a past opinion. You can take the information you have currently and make a different decision.
Yep.
And that's for all of them, from the Armorer to
Yeah.
Bo-Katan to Big Vizsla. I mean, all of them have. Well, I use all of them very generally, but many of them have shown that willingness to grow this, even though you could say that some of the religious aspects of the Children of the Watch are really strict. Like, they can't take their helmets off. They have to eat, in a dark corner without anybody watching, and all those things. And there's still a willingness to be accepting of people, to open themselves to a different possibility than based on what happened before.
Right. And man, that was, I mean, I knew that, you knew they were going to win, but I didn't know they were going to win. Like the people that say like Disney has made Star Wars soft, I was watching that, and the pirates were down and somewhat injured. The Mandos just walked by and shot them as they're just like, you know what I mean? There was
right
no,
in front of the Anzellan's little window.
yeah, they're just like, okay, next. Like, I was like, that's why the Mandos always win, because the heroes always, let him go. If those Mandos would have caught Moff Gideon wouldn't have escaped. So,
but let's go back to when we saw CGI Zeb.
Yeah.
So how about that? Did you get a sense that was like a Vietnam kind of not MASH unit, but base camp sort of thing?
Yeah, like a China Beach,
something along those lines.
Like we need you guys to do this, but we're not really. We don't want to hear about it. You just do your thing, and we're going to give you somewhat good equipment. Yeah, that was good.
And did you spot the 3 cameos at the end of the bar?
No, listen, I watched it at 5:00 in the morning.
Deborah Chow, Rick Famuyiwa, and Dave Filoni.
Jeez, see, now I gotta watch it.
Yeah,
I gotta watch it again.
So as you're looking at the bar,
I was too busy on Zeb.
As you're looking at the bar, as they come into the room on the right-hand side of the bar, you've got Deborah, Rick, and Dave just sitting there drinking spatchka.
Yeah.
I mean, Dave's wearing his big brown cowboy hat and everything.
Yeah, that's good. That's what they should have made Dave like the guy from Apocalypse Now. The helicopter pilot. No, but and that was cool when he went to back and then that it made that long episode that people disliked with that girl even better.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it makes the people who dislike that episode dislike it even more.
Well, maybe, but I thought it made her character more sinister.
Yeah, that part I wholeheartedly agree with.
Like, because
her little slick way of getting into the conversation, like, "Oh, I'm going to the lunchroom. Do you want anything?"
Right, and she was. The thing what I noticed with her, she was trained at what she was doing, but she's pushing around these overworked bureaucrats that don't really know what they're doing. Like they're not the Princess Leia's and the Mon Mothmas that helped free from the Empire. They're just so and so that's logging in data. They're the pencil pusher bureaucrats.
Well, the pencil pushing bureaucrat that can't even get a droid not to leave stuff on his desk.
Right.
He said, "Don't put it there." He's like, "Yeah, anyway."
Yeah. So,
have you guys seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yes.
I cannot look at him and not see Caleb the Cannibal.
Yeah.
I was expecting him to lunge out at one point. It was. I don't remember the actor's name, but it was. I was really surprised to see him.
Well, that does bring up a point to Star Wars where Star Wars is changing in the sense that they're making so many shows they cannot afford not to use known people anymore. You know what I mean? Like we are starting to see people like, hey, they were in that show. Hey, they were in that show. You know what I mean? And I wonder if that's going to, like.
Well, I mean, Ella's a perfect example. That the lady that you were just talking about, she was in Game of Thrones,
Right.
and the guy who did the body work for Mossman, that pirate, the green pirate guy, he was also in Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay.
They're really picking from that Game of Thrones tree.
Well, that's it's. I mean, you think about it. If you're trying to put shows together, and your choice is someone you don't know, or hey, we can just watch their work right on screen.
Yeah, this other show. It wasn't just a movie, but it was a show.
Wasn't she also on Thor, the new Thor movie?
No, she was in Ant-Man.
Ant-Man. That's what it was. Ant-Man.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's like I know when Woody Harrelson was the first person that concerned me in a Star Wars movie, and as soon as I saw him in the movie, it went out the door. I was fine with that. You know what I mean? But he was the first person when I was like, oh, is he gonna? Am I gonna keep thinking Cheers or the American Killer guy?
You didn't think that with Sam Jackson?
No, not really, because he didn't look like Sam Jackson. Like he didn't look like Sam, and he wasn't really a main part. You know what I mean? They kind of but he Sam Jackson was almost like the Alec Guinness of that movie.
Gotcha.
And Qui-Gon was probably the other one, but I had never seen any of his movies back then, so I was like, I don't know who this guy is. So no, I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just different for Star Wars. Is what it is. Now Blake says, I think the Mandos that left Bo were the ones that rescued Gideon.
Rescued or kidnapped? That's the real question.
I wonder. See, this is where the religion of the Mandos and the Bo-Katan style Mandos. I wonder if there's a lot of stuff wrong with the religious Mandos, but the religious Mandos stuck together, where the Bo-Katan ones I could see seemed like they were doing the same thing, like being hunters and bounty hunters. But if you didn't have that religious creed, you could easily, if you're out on your own, you could easily just become a bounty hunter. You could become a Boba Fett.
Well, it makes me wonder if we're going down this path that Blake is laying down, did they quote unquote rescue him for somebody else?
Yeah.
So is this one of those things where they, like you said about bounty hunters or mercenaries, they weren't doing it because it was just something that they wanted to do, like when they were with Bo.
Right.
But they did it for someone like a Thrawn, that they did this for somebody else, or whoever did this, did they do this to make it seem like it was the Mandalorians when it wasn't? Going back to my Saw Gerrera, lies and deception.
Yeah. Come on, you gotta say it.
Lies every day, more lies.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm just I'm happy with what they're doing with Bo. I'm happy that I was thinking that Bo and the armor were going to become like some big battle, and I'm glad that didn't happen, at least so far. And
speaking of battle, what were your thoughts on all of the Mandos on Navarro doing their thing? Not just walking by and blasting folks, but all of the different stuff that they were involved with.
I like the armor.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. She's just too cool for school. Like I'd hate to see her with a gun because she's killing with tongs and hammers.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Yeah, that was good. And I like the ship battles. I like that crashed. I'm glad that they finished the battle like that pretty much, except for that one pirate dude that just, you know, I'm glad it wasn't drug out to like the big ship got away, limped away, and then he'd come back again. You know what I mean? I'm glad it was like, let's just get rid of these pirates.
Well, do you think, because Blake mentions Hondo, do you think Vane scooted off and, joined Hondo?
He could. Though I don't think. Yeah, I wonder how Hondo falls into this, because Hondo, he's lower in his station at this time. You know, like
Right.
the rebels found him, he was pretty low compared to what he was during the peak of the Clone Wars. Remember, he was wasn't he robbing like an empty ship or something like that? Or, you know?
That's when, didn't he find like Maul and no press on it or something?
Yeah. So, yeah, I'd love to see Hondo. I mean, that's, you know.
I don't see Hondo being the kind of guy who'd want to poke the sleeping giant of the Mandalorians.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that could. I mean, that could be like. I'm curious how they're going to draw Thrawn into any of that. But it was just a good episode.
One thing I find interesting. So we're mentioning Thrawn. We're mentioning these big villains. Some of the articles I've read within the last 2 weeks is how bad this show is because they don't have a singular villain to go against. I mean, they have to fight against, space crocodile turtles and dinosaur bats and things like this, and that there's not one bad guy that they're up against. It's not an idea that I subscribe to, but I do find it interesting that that's one of the common complaints I hear about.
Well, you know what's funny, and I don't know who does all the writing for the show, if it's, but this episode fixed a lot of what people were complaining about, because people are like, well, why are they staying next to the water where there's this birds that'll get you and the alligators that'll get you? But then when the X-wing pilot comes, it showed that they didn't choose to live there. They're trying to hide and grow their numbers. You know what I mean? Like they're living in the shadows. And when you live in the shadows, you don't really get to pick the nicest part of town,
Well, I mean, it was a beach. I mean,
it was.
They had that going for them.
Like, I don't know if people just don't know how to follow a story, but they were living in the sewers before, and tons of them got killed. You remember the pile of armor, so they lost a lot of people in that, and they were probably their best fighters. They weren't, and then so they just kind of like ran off and scattered, and then they found this place. Like it just felt like they kind of addressed that. So hopefully people are thinking, hey, maybe before I get all worked up about a certain plot point, maybe I should watch the whole thing.
Yeah, that's the thing I find. I'll use the word interesting when I have other words to describe it, but I'll just say interesting for now. I find it interesting that folks aren't willing to just watch all of it first.
Yeah.
Before they slice all the bits up into mincemeat, because when you see it all, those threads begin to make more sense. Instead of watching the third episode and complaining about it, how about we wait till it's all together? And I'm not saying you can't complain about it at the end, but
right.
It may make more sense. It'd be like going into the first 10 minutes of a movie and walking out and saying, that's stupid, I didn't understand it, because you missed the other 90 minutes that were in the movie.
Right. Yeah. But it was the battle, and then we got to see the Babus or whatever they're called.
The Anzellans.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty cool, because it also gave that reminiscent Star Wars where the guys were getting into gun turrets. It looked very reminiscent of like the Boeing gun turrets and the different type bombers during World War II. And it just, it was just really cool. And the pirates were like, okay, let's just target the civilians. They were like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, it was just really good.
And I can't figure out to this day what's volume, what's like.
I know.
It's amazing.
I can't believe they blew that entire city up in real life. I can't believe they flew a real ship. Yeah. And again, Bo-Katan is becoming one of my favorite Mandalorians, because just like when it was like when they were all running out of gas in their jetpack, and all of a sudden her ship, she's just like going, you know what I mean? And then she's smart enough to know, well, I'm not going to, risk the kid's life. But she comes back with a plan. They're all like, oh, well, I guess we lost another kid. And she's like, no, let's go get this person,
Well, how about when you had mentioned the cave conversation a little bit ago, that they even have rules of debate or rules of town hall. So you can only talk when you have the hammer. If you don't have the hammer, you got to shut up.
Yeah.
I wish we had the hammer in some of our meetings. Like, you can only talk when you have the hammer.
Yeah. Yeah. That was neat. That was neat to see the debate, and and again, they surprised us, because the typical show, you would have thought, okay, Vizsla's going to argue against it, and then there's going to be, and he's like, he made a better case than the others did,
Yeah.
I mean, it's refreshing to see that path they took,
So who amongst them do you think is Mom Vizsla?
Well, me and Zoe were talking about this, but you wonder if he's a foundling. And I think Zoe was talking about on her podcast too. Like, is he an actual child, or is he a foundling? Because he wasn't. They didn't seem like they had many of them when they were living in the sewers.
Mm-hmm.
So did they do some?
Oh no, they had scenes where there were kids in the sewers.
Oh, okay.
There was it was one of the early scenes. It might have even been after Din had gotten the first ingot of Beskar, and he was walking through the sewers, and I could have sworn that you saw some little ones running around.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right. What I'm saying was he a foundling? Like, because I mean, I think there is a subplot to the Mandalorian about the found family, and so he could be a foundling. So,
and I don't think we spent enough time talking about the awesomeness of last episode.
Oh yeah,
with Keller and Beck.
Yeah, that was good.
So I'm going to ask you guys some questions, related to Keller.
Your connection, okay? Those connection things. I think I got some of them, but the one I don't. I can't.
Okay, so here are the three pieces that I want to see if you guys can connect. So the first one is Kelleran. The second one is Bruce Lee, and the third one is Oda Gunga. So how are those three things connected?
That's all you, Mike. As soon as he said that, I was lost.
So I got the connection between the Gungan city and the Jedi, and I got that connection, but I could not do the Bruce Lee one.
Okay, so we'll go Keller and Bruce Lee first.
Okay.
So recently, when Ahmed was talking about portraying this role, he based some of his Jedi moves on Bruce Lee's fighting style.
Okay.
So he took this role, even though it wasn't a long role. It wasn't, he wasn't in the entire episode. He took it very seriously and trained to be able to perform those dual sabers. Oda Gunga is that underwater planet on Naboo. And so when Kelleran rescued Grogu and they landed on that landing platform, that ship is a Naboo star cruiser.
Okay.
So who do you think left it there? Because the guards seemed to know that Kelleran was coming and said, "Where's everybody else?" And he said, "There are none." So somebody from Naboo had to leave that ship there. And the only folks that I know from Naboo are Padme or Jar Jar.
Yeah.
So do you think it's possible that Jar Jar left it for them or sent it for them, and that Kelleran took baby Grogu to Naboo to Oda Gunga to hide?
I will take that one. Yes, that's pretty much what I think, because it could have been Padme, but I think Padme was too busy chasing her abusive boyfriend around at the time.
And so, with that in mind, do you think there's the possibility that we'll get more flashbacks, possibly with Jar Jar?
Maybe. What if when Grogu starts talking, he sounds like Jar Jar? And he says,
Misa thinks that'd be very
"He's a
interesting,
Jedi."
sir.
But he talks like that and Yoda's language together.
Misa very confused. I am.
Yeah, well, and see, so Baby Yoda or Grogu was really young because he's 50, right? 50, was it 50? What the fob said?
Yeah.
So 50. So he had to be pretty much just born.
No, he had to be like in his 30s.
No, because Order 66, Luke was born, right? The Mandalorian takes place
9 years. It's
Oh, no,
nine.
never mind.
9 maybe.
I forget what I'm talking about. Okay, you're right. I was, for some reason, my mind, this was running through my head today. I was thinking The Mandalorian took place after the last movie. And I know that's not true, but I was just like, okay, never mind.
Because it's after Return of the Jedi, right?
Forget me, fake fan. I just, it was stuck in my head today all day. And now,
Yeah, so he had to. I would guess he was in his 30s then, because that would have been like 20 plus years, maybe longer. Maybe he was in his late 20s.
so did Din rescue him from the good guys?
No, Din rescued Grogu from the pirates, from the folks on Quill's planet.
I know, but how do we know they were bad?
Well, Quill didn't like him.
That's true. But Quill was mainly just didn't like the bounty hunters that came after him.
Yeah, it's a good. I mean, he could have murdered an entire herd of innocents. It's possible.
Like, Ahmed Best's character just said, "Look, I'll be right back," and he comes back and they're all shot up. It's like, oh,
what happened?
You should have been here.
Grogu and I would be the same age.
Oh, okay.
During Order 66, he'd be 23.
All right.
Because Order 66 is 18 BBY. The Mandalorian takes place 9 ABY. So, and if he was 50, that's 20. 18 plus 9 is 27. Subtract that from 50, it's 20.
Carry the 1. That sounds about right.
Yeah, that's way too much math at 10 o'clock on a Wednesday night.
And
for a math teacher off duty.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bring work home for you.
That'll be fine. But even back to the Mandalorians, it was neat that they got land offered to them. Even though now they decided to go back. As soon as they get offered land, they're like, okay, now we're going to go back to.
Well, they need to have an operating base. They can't just rush off.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, that's
So, if this is after Return of the Jedi,
yeah,
how did Zeb get to be with the Space Rangers?
Well, remember he went back to his home planet with
Agent Kallus.
Agent Kallus.
And his parents, right?
Yeah.
So does that mean him and Kallus broke up?
Maybe.
Or was Kallus, playing darts on the other side of the room?
That could be.
And we didn't see him.
But it could be too, where like these planets like committed pilots. You know what I mean? Like okay, look here, we'll send you our best to kind of give that uniform. But he has to be cramped in an X-wing now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wonder what he's flying.
Well, I thought he might have been flying one of the Y-wings.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's not flying an A-wing, that's for sure.
Yeah.
He'd be like his knees up under his shoulder.
Now, Mike, you are the resident Rebels expert. Are you pleased with your first live action Lasat?
Oh yeah. Well, there was the first one was the one on the prison planet when they got Bill Burr.
Was there a Lasat there?
I'm pretty sure that was a Lasat he was working with or next to.
Huh.
It wasn't as good as Zeb, but I'm pretty sure that was a Lasat. You have to look up the pictures, but I'm pretty sure it was either Lasat or something that looked very close to one. But yes, I'm very happy with Zeb.
Honestly, it looked so much like Cal Kestis's master, Jar
Yeah.
Tarful.
Yeah, I think it even looked a little better than that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, granted, I was watching it at 3 a.m., so
Truth be
my
told,
eyes were a little
I
skewed.
had to rewind it because at one point I fell back asleep.
Yeah.
I woke up and the Mandos were fighting. I'm like, wait a minute, I missed something.
Well, that's what we had to, like you have settings on your streaming services. We had to turn off, where it'll just keep playing. We had to turn that feature off because we would start a show and, you're like 6 episodes past it and you're like, oh.
Well, when I signed in this morning, it didn't even have a title for the episode and it didn't have a thumbnail picture.
Well, that's good. I sometimes their thumbnails irritate me because it tells you what's happening. What's the other? There's another show that has a few Star Wars references that I started watching. It's about an online game. It's on Apple TV. It's an Apple exclusive, and it's about a company that runs a multiplayer online game, MMO game online. It's like behind the scenes.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that one.
They have a good many Star Wars references, which is pretty funny because the guy that does all the writing. And he was going on about how he writes a story. And one guy's like, did you just steal that from Star Wars? Because every one of his stories is, well, it's always the son and the father. Like, didn't you just steal that from Star Wars? So, that was my Star Wars, non-Star Wars related. But, yeah, that was good. And then to top it off, the Bad Batch. So, like, me and Zoe, we got up enough time. We watched. Zoe wanted to watch Bad Batch first, so we watched. But I think I won out and we watched Mandalorian first anyway because I told her, I said, I gotta watch Mandalorian first. I'm sorry.
Well, I think that order may have been more helpful considering how hard hitting the Bad Batch was.
Yeah. So then, but we only got to see the first one, and then we had to go to work. It was like because it was like, oh crap, we got to go to work. But the Bad Batch was really good too. I mean, like there's 2 giant cliffhangers. Like the first one, Tech fell, which I never. With Star Wars, you never think anyone dies. You know what I mean? Until you see the body all mangled. But they lost Tech, which I still think Tech's going to be captured. He's going to be, a prisoner.
As someone who is sobbing at 3 a.m., I would be a little disappointed if they brought Tech back.
Really?
Because I think that they would do something to Tech like they did with Echo.
Yeah.
True.
Hook them up to something because they're that diabolical.
Yeah.
Like they couldn't just let him perish, but they're gonna do everything that they can to get as much out of him as they can.
Well, but the sister thing, the other clone woman, that was like, I was like, what? And because the week before I said to Zoe, I said, they held the camera on that woman a little too long because I thought maybe she was the mole.
Yeah, are they trying to give us an opportunity to see if there's like recognize her?
Yeah. So
I didn't see that one coming at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to tell my dad, because we were running some errands today, and he doesn't get to watch it until the weekend.
Yeah.
Just with how his work schedule falls. So I was trying to tell him, like, The Mandalorian was great. It was fantastic. It was an excellent episode. But I told him, like, The Bad Batch was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, this was the finale, blah, blah, blah. Did they set up anything else? And I'm like, if they don't do a 3rd season, you're going to have a lot of pissed off nerds at this point.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're at a place now, and this is just pure guess, because Kathleen Kennedy and I haven't talked about it or anything today. I think we're at a place now where they trust what Dave is doing, and they're willing to let him and the team, not even just Dave, but the team, because he's just the supervisor of the Bad Batch, and now all these other people are involved in the directing and the writing and things like that. But I think they trust him so much. Take this as long and as far as you want this to go.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at the amount of... If you look at any cartoon or animated series that came out when the Clone Wars came out, it survived. Not only the Clone Wars survived terrible placement on the TV channel, you know, all those years where they moved it around and this and that. They canceled it. They picked it back up, and there are still people just going nuts for it, like all the time. And I know it's the circle we live in, but I don't know that many people that have Disney Plus that don't at least watch most of the new Star Wars stuff too. Like I know a few people that do Marvel, but they at least go over into the Star Wars stuff too. And I think the Marvel fans are getting a little wacko. So, you know.
Yeah, I think fans are taking the fanatic part of it further than ever before. I'll be right back.
Hey, and I did see the D&D movie.
Oh, you did?
I was going to ask how you saw that so early.
So they had a pre-show or a sneak pre. I was watching Survivor and a commercial came on. I don't watch TV with commercial. The only show I watch that has commercials is Survivor because I have to get it on my whatever thing.
Baffles me.
Huh?
So that baffles me, but
What?
go on.
I watch Survivor?
Yeah. I don't know why.
But I was watching that and it had a commercial. It said, check your local AMC theaters and see if they're doing one of the few sneak preview days of D&D. Right. And so I'm watching Survivor on Saturday. I'm like, oh, let me check. Or no, Friday night. And I'm watching. It's like, oh, crap. There's one in White Marsh, Maryland, which is about an hour and 20 minutes away from me at 2:00 on Sunday. I was like, hey, girls, you want to see D&D movie? Like, yeah. So and it was also 30% off tickets. It was in the big theater and whatever, which AMC are more expensive anyway. So it wasn't really that much of a discount.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a really good movie. Like, talking fandom, I said to Zoe, the D&D movie has to be the hardest movie to make.
Oh, yeah.
Because like Star Wars, there's only a finite amount of Star Wars. Even if you took all the books and all the movies, it's a story. With D&D, you play it, I play it, other people play, and everyone plays it different.
Right.
You know, like it doesn't matter, you know, people use different rule sets, they use different monsters, they use different house rules, they use whatever. And for that, they did a really good job, like just with the monsters and the timing and the humor. It was good.
Now, the one question I will ask: did they lean into the stereotypes of each character? I feel like that is the most important thing to get right in a D&D movie.
I'm trying to think. Yes. So right. I don't want to say that the characters weren't like two-dimensional.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But like the main guy, the guy from Wonder Woman that played the Bard,
Chris Pine,
he reminded me of every person that plays a Bard when I play D&D. You know what I mean?
That's me.
Like we're battling at, and they're like, I'm gonna get out my mandolin. Like, really, we're fighting right now, and you're getting out your stupid mandolin. You know what I mean? Like we've played with bards like that, and so yeah, it was really good. I mean, not enough dragons for me, but
well,
again,
the dragons looked a little rough in the trailers, so that's not.
Well, they looked rough for a reason. Like it was it
done on purpose?
Yeah. Like the one was a statue that came to life.
Mm-hmm.
So and then the other one was just, I forget what type of dragon they called it, but it was supposed to be that it wasn't that great of a dragon. Like they didn't have any. It was good. Like they had a mimic. No, what's the treasure chest that looks like it? That's a mimic.
Yeah, that was in the trailer.
They had the gelatinous thing.
Mm-hmm.
They had in the background, like the monkey lizards in Star Wars.
Yeah.
In the castle, running along the thing, they had some like just like, oh, I know what that monster. You know what I mean? Like just common ones.
Should I bring my monster manual with me when I go to watch it?
No, you'll know them. I'm pretty sure you'll know most of the creatures. They showed the Displacer Beast, right? I think they showed the Displacer Beast in one of the things. They had the Displacer Beast and a couple of just it was good. It was a fun movie. For someone who's played D&D since almost as long as I've watched Star Wars, since '79. It was really fun to watch.
I mean, look, I was excited for this movie when they announced it. I was excited. I was more excited when they said that Chris Pine was leading it.
Mm-hmm.
I again, it was a Star Wars show, but I love the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies,
Yeah,
especially for Chris Pine.
yeah. Yeah, this was a good, and it kind of reminded me a little bit of the Star Wars fandom in the sense that when you can just enjoy something for enjoying it, and then they had a throwback to the cartoon.
Really?
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna ruin that. The throwback to the cartoon is funny, so. That I would rewatch if you get a chance to rewatch. I think you can find them on YouTube or something. Like just watch a couple of the D&D cartoons and stuff like that.
Yeah, I haven't seen those in probably a decade or more.
I have them on DVD somewhere. I bought a copy, which I think is just a burnt copy, but it's
Probably got it at a convention or something.
we were D&D snobs when that cartoon came out because we were like, that's not D&D. You know what I mean? Because they came out, I was like I don't know when. I was probably like 9th grade or something, 8th grade, 9th grade. We're like, that's not D&D because they were, the cartoons. And then we just copied all those stupid weapons that the kids had. But
Yeah, I think what really solidified this, this is going to be the best D&D movie it could possibly be, is when they released the clip from the cemetery.
oh yeah.
That- It is soon, like when they I could see it's 7 people in the party. I could see 8 people sitting at a table and the DM is just reading off how a spell works. I'm like, oh my god, that's perfect.
Oh yeah, no, that's one of my. There's a whole sequence in that scene. That's a snippet of the cemetery scene. There's a whole, and it's just exactly right. And that's what some of the movie you can feel it was a game. Like I know we're spoiled if you've watched the Critical Role. Have you guys ever watched the Critical Role cartoon?
Oh yeah.
So that kind of spoils you because that's like other level D&D. Like that's that's almost like professional gamers and professional voice people and professional everything doing a perfect game, where this is more of an homage to the not so perfect characters, and it's good, and it is a good story. It also has one of those storylines in it that makes you feel good. Like it just has a good storyline.
Leaves you with hope.
Yeah, it's a hopeful story, but it's an emotional story. It's a good, I highly recommend it. I mean, I'm sure some people are going to, like everything else, will hate it for some reason, but I thought it was really good.
Well, it's got I think it's got like an 80 or a 90 something on Rotten Tomatoes so far. So it seems like everyone's enjoying it.
Yeah, it was. I'm glad we went for the early showing.
Yeah, I was gonna go tomorrow night, and then of course I got that reminder email that maybe not.
So, but yeah, it was good.
Let's see.
So
yeah, it's got a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
Yeah. You play D&D, Ken?
I did, but not as much as I wanted to. If that makes any sense.
Well, once D&D becomes one of any of those role playing games like that become, when you're a kid up until college, you can we're just not going to do anything for the next day and a half. You know what I mean? And then you get spoiled. Like we used to play like for 8-9 hours straight, and then we'd all go our separate ways for about 6 hours, then come back and play. And once you play like that, it's hard to play in grown up time. Okay, we can play from 4 to 6 on every other Friday. I'm like, But anyhow, so to wrap up so we got Bruce Lee fighting like Bruce Lee in Gungan City with baby. I didn't know baby Grogu had his own little pod already. Like I thought the Ugnaught made that first one for him, so that was kind of neat to see, I guess.
Well, I mean, Yoda had one similar. I mean, he didn't have the egg-shaped bit, but he floated around one. I thought it was in Attack of the Clones.
That's true. Oh my god, that Yoda puppet.
And they keep just highlighting and showcasing it, even if it's just sitting on a box doing stuff, looking at the Mandos or whatever.
No, but I'm thinking the first Yoda puppet from Phantom Menace.
Oh, that one.
That was like, man, you know,
You didn't age well.
he didn't backward age
Yeah,
well.
you didn't. Yeah, you didn't de-age well.
He was like a, that was I guess that I mean I didn't really care. I was just happy to see Yoda, but I was so glad. That was one of those things. I was so glad that they computerized and put the other Yoda back.
See, I want to find a version of the DVD that has the puppet on it, just for.
I have one here, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I do too. I've also got a VHS if you want it.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I was gonna get the VCR for it.
Yeah, I've got the VHS for the original trilogy, and I've got the standard release of the Phantom Menace, and then I've got the special edition, or not the special edition, the limited edition.
And then it came with. I have the box. It came with like a film cell.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have the videotape anymore. I did a purge of my. I wish I wouldn't have, but I had like the letterbox edition and all that stuff.
Actually, now that we're talking out loud, I think I have something like that. I didn't realize it was the VHS tape.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the VHS didn't have the updated, because I don't think they updated Yoda until they let out the Blu-ray.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, I think you're right. Or it might have, you know what? It might have been when they were re-releasing them all on DVD.
Yeah, maybe that was it. No, but I think the Phantom Menace was the last one to come out on VHS.
Mm-hmm. Which is disappointing because I just, as a collector, I want them all on VHS.
Yeah, you're too young to appreciate this, but when you had a VCR back then, you felt like every time you watched the movie, you were just one step away
from breaking it,
from that tape not working. Like,
hey, I had many a VHS
I know,
worn out on me.
Access to DVD. See, back then it was like, then you're like, okay, do I get an extra? Like your tracking starts to get that little, you know what I mean? Like I don't know how many movies I had where the first, like the FBI warning that's the first sign. When that starts to crackle up, you're like, oh crap, And VCRs were like ridiculously priced back then, so you'd buy a cheap one and that wore out even quicker. Had to rewind box. Or the beta one that pulled the tape out of the spool. It pulled it into the tape player, so you had to rewind it before you could take it out. So the beta didn't play. And then what was the other one? The CED. Do you remember those?
Yeah, the really small ones.
No, the CED looked like a big laser disc.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't a laser disc.
Yeah.
It's a stylus, almost like a record player.
Yeah, we didn't have one of those.
Pull a lever and you'd pull the box out and the disc would stay in, and it read similar to a needle on a record player.
Oh wow, yeah, we didn't have that. We didn't even have a laserdisc player. We were lucky we had a VCR.
I only had a CED player back in I want to say right before Zoe was born, so around 2000. I was at an auction and they had this CED player. No one knew what it was, and a stack. It was about 4 foot tall of all these CEDs, and I paid like $2 for them. And I took them all, and when I sorted through them, it had Indiana Jones and Star Wars: New Hope. Star Wars, and then the rest, I think I sold them on eBay for practically nothing. And for the longest time, I just had them hanging on my wall. And then I think when I moved, I wound up selling them on eBay.
Wow!
I just used them for like wall art. So the joy of all the Star Wars stuff.
I mean, this week has been quite incredible with 2 episodes of The Bad Batch, and there's got to be at least 2 more seasons out of The Bad Batch. I mean,
yeah.
I see. Again, that's where I don't understand, and I know it's way more complicated than this. I don't understand how they make that animation, because in my mind, I think of it as like a video game. Like, hey, you make all this stuff, and then just have some guy steer them around, which I know it isn't true, but I'm like you can't just do that. I mean,
Well, maybe we can write a letter to Dave. Well, Dave Filoni, you're listening. Can you set us up with a tour of the animation studio so that we can learn how this is actually done?
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be a full day. It could just be, like 12 hours of the day where we get to spend time at the studio to learn all of this stuff.
I'm hoping I run into Anne again. I don't know if she's going, but I'm hoping I run into her again at Celebration.
Mike, I hope you understand that for 90% of this weekend, I'm probably going to be attached to your hip for, also, so I don't feel like I'm going to get lost and get napped in another country.
Well, I also
Well, you're not going to the places where they're going to steal your organs. This is
they might. Yeah, my plan is the 5 or 10% that John's not with me. I'm going to make up people that I met.
I'm putting my foot down now. If I don't have any pictures with you with X, Y, or Z, it didn't happen.
Well, I know I'll at least see Matt because he's. But
well, Matt doesn't usually go places at the Celebration by himself. He usually has somebody else, whether it's Kiri Hart or any of these other folks.
Yeah, well, no, he was hanging with us at Anaheim by himself though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on his time off. But see, he's coming from. When I talked to him, he said, "Yeah, I have to get he's getting a Star Wars tattoo on one of the stages right before he comes to Zoe's panel." So
he'll be tender.
Yeah, so don't slap him on the arm. Well, I mean, who knows? He has all of his arms are covered with tattoos. But
well, because I saw that was an opportunity, but if I wasn't already forking out so much money,
yeah, and I don't think their tattoos are inexpensive. You're paying. Yeah. You're. I mean, not that you should really buy. Public service announcement: if you're going to try to cut costs, don't cut it on tattoos. I don't know anything.
I could give you a tattoo.
Huh?
I can't draw a straight line with a ruler. I don't know if you want me to do something artistic.
I don't know how many friends of mine over the years have had to have tattoos removed because they thought it was a good idea to get one at the beach. Like, oh, you mean that Tweety bird on my ankle as a grown man is not going to age well? So
stop looking at my ankles.
I'm two things. I don't really like needles, and I'm too cheap to get a tattoo. And I also know the day I get a tattoo, because I've thought about it before, within a month my entire arm will be covered. I just know how I am. So I know, but
Mike, this took me a year.
Yeah, see, I'd be like, just give me a sleeve, because I like the looks of sleeves, but I don't,
They're so expensive.
I know, and
I have a used car on my arms.
Yeah. Well, and I teach middle school students, so I would have to wear long sleeves just because it would be every day I'd have to explain something because they get distracted by me having a different pen in my pocket. So I'm not going to. What's that mean, Mr. Hinton? Oh, okay. So, though we did watch a computer video today on how Lucasfilm used computers to change the film industry on Discovery Ed.
Nice.
Very low quality, very. The videos we're allowed to use are such low quality video. It's terrible. And then it had still animations of George in his car crash. Like, because it was like it talked about, and when George was in high school hot rodder, and one day he had an accident in his hot rod, and he woke up, and then he started writing Star. Like it's a very
abbreviated version of his life.
We didn't feel like asking a few questions, so we just filled in the blanks, kind of. It was probably one of those like where he probably gave some money, or they gave his endowment some money and they made a Discovery Ed video, but the quality is pretty rough. But in schools we're limited to what we can show. So,
well, next week I hope that they start giving some of these rando mandos some names.
Oh yeah.
Because
today I was trying to see the enemy props logo on them, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah, I think they're just moving too fast.
Yeah, they were good though, man. That's some good mandos.
And for me, it's one of the hardest decisions for a custom Mandalorian is coming up with a color scheme. Yeah. And watching this season of the Mandalorian, like, does it really matter? I mean, they've got like one green piece and the rest of it's purple, or the helmet is red, and I think maybe that'll be my next color scheme after I get my post-Imperial though.
Yeah, it's kind of neat though, because like you could almost make a story of that, like especially with the foundlings. Like the kid got his helmet, but you don't know how they get their other armor. So like if a friend dies in battle, do you get like to honor him? Do you take like their shoulder bell, or do you take their cut? You know what I mean? Like you could just make such.
Yeah, I don't think you share a cod piece though. I think that's where you draw the line.
But but yeah, that's a good episode.
It's a good week for Star Wars.
Yeah. Next week, no show.
I was going to ask Ken, what are you going to do? You going to hold down the fort while we're gone?
I'll probably do a lot of crying.
Yeah, because I know I'm going to be running around like a madman. Monday and then Tuesday, I'm going to try. I just want everything done. So Tuesday, it's just sitting there, and hopefully everything goes well Wednesday. Once I'm at the airport waiting for the plane, I'll be fine. But
Yeah, so it'll be me sitting in the dark crying. That's all.
Yeah.
Don't worry about me, guys. I'll be fine.
No, I was looking, and I was like, I wonder how long it would take me to drive to South Carolina.
It's more than an hour and a half. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, but I mean, I have to be there at 8:15 to get, and then when do we leave? We leave like 11 something.
11:20.
So I was like, oh, well, if I get a half day at work, is it a 12 hour?
Just take the plane ride.
No, I know. I already bought the ticket. So,
Yeah. I love how you say that, once you're waiting for the plane and you're at the airport, that's when you're going to be calm and relaxed. That's when I'm going to be at the worst, because I've never flown, and I'm going on an international flight for my first go around.
That's probably the better flight, though, to be your first flight, to be honest with you. Because these cross-country flights, man, the amount of money I paid to go to Anaheim, and I was just like, I'm sure these flights don't have much more room, but man, it's not pleasant.
See, I think you guys are going to be so caught up in the things you're going to do, the things you're going to see, that you'll not even notice the flight.
I hope so. I hope I fall asleep. Like, I hope I'm going to get up early, watch Mando in the morning, teach all day, and then so I'm hoping that when I sit down, I just go out, and then I wake up and they're like, "Hey, you're in England," or I didn't go eat my baby, or whatever they say in England.
That's Australia.
That's
Australia.
You're talking about the penal colony. That's
yeah. So yeah, I mean it should be fun. I mean, and then we get there and ride the tube and get to our hotel, and hopefully
just remember to call everybody governor. They love that.
Governor, yeah.
Hello, governor.
Cockney accent, and
everyone loves that.
Yeah, and
now, did you book the subway, or is that something we do when we get there?
Yeah, that's probably something I'll look at in the next day or two. Just I'm gonna see what the price of the subway is, and then I'll probably call about a car just to see what it costs. I mean, but everyone says take the subway, so I'm just going to trust the people that live there.
Well, the thing with the car is not only we have to worry about driving on the other side of the road, but you have to worry about parking and all that.
I mean, I like a car service.
Oh, I thought you were like talking about renting a car while you're
right. But I just got to look again. Everyone's telling me to take the subway, so I'm mainly going to trust the people because I mean, I think most countries, like European countries, have way better mass transit than we do.
And you also have one of the unthought about, or not as commonly thought about, benefit. You're going to a place where they speak similar language,
right?
So you don't have to worry about that, although they do have different words for things.
Yeah, I want to get one of those books now. How do you say soup?
Well, just remember that the boot is not the boot.
That's the trunk.
That's the trunk.
And the car lot is a parking lot, right?
Yes. And you're going to stand in a queue.
Yeah. Well, I know that in a queue, but no, I mean it should be a good ride. It's like I said, once we just get there, like once I'm taken out of the picture of having to like rush around, like I can get on a plane, I can sit on a plane,
Just be careful of snakes.
Snakes on it? Okay. Well, that plane is going to be a large percentage of celebration people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Be prepared.
yeah. So
Yeah, see, I'm to get away from packing it, I'm wearing my patch vest
yeah,
over. So
I'm gonna wear all my clothes. I'm just gonna wear like 7 shirts and 4 pair of pants.
I can't put my arms.
so you're the asshole in TSA then?
No,
And flip flops. You wear flip flops.
I'm not wearing flip flops. I'm taking 1 pair of shoes. I don't got room to pack any of that stuff.
I still think it's funny you guys are bringing a backpack.
I'm taking a backpack and a bag because I got to put Sabine's helmet in something.
Yeah.
So.
Well, have a fantastic week, gentlemen.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll be exchanging notes with you between now and then.
Well, here, let's play our new outro.
Yes, sir. Fire it up.
We still talk longer than we ever wanted to, but it was a good show. I got to label these. They don't give me like.
Starships, but then my falcon's hyperdrive just slipped. I used to worry about the future, but then I threw my caution to the wind. I had no reason to be carefree, no, until I took a trip to the treetop side of town.